Rupert Matthews, obviously today in the European Parliament, they're debating the motion for resolution winding up on the framework for the future EU-UK relationship.
Sure.
One of the clear comments which have been made about this document is that it's basically a complete rebuttal of what Theresa May was advocating in her Mansion House speech. Now, as a Conservative MEP, you know what's happening in Europe, you know what's happening in the UK. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't think it's a complete rebuttal. There are elements in there that actually, as a Conservative, I'm very happy with. In her speech, Theresa May painted a picture of a big, open relationship with the European Union, a free trade agreement that's really going to be entirely comprehensive, one of the greatest free trade agreements in the world today. And the motion we've got going on here, parts of it welcome that speech, other parts of it, of course, are laying out all the usual things that the European Union talks about. But on the whole, I think most of the comments have been positive towards the future relationship. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great.
Now, but in terms of the wording of the resolution, it says the third country cannot have the same benefits as a member state of the European Union or an EFTA or EEA member. And it also very, very strongly rebuts the idea of any form of cherry picking, which really Theresa May is advocating for, cherry picking in the sense of picking sectors with which to align or move away from EU regulations.
Well, I think you have to be careful about what they're talking about here. People in this building think that being a member of the Common Agricultural Policy is a benefit to a country. Now, I think you talk to most farmers in our country, they would recognise that it's over-bureaucratic, over-regulated, doesn't give them the flexibility that they need to jump in and out of different sectors in the rural community and the rural economy. So I think some of the things that people here say are benefits are actually the reasons why we're voting to leave. We do not want freedom of movement, which they see as a benefit, and so I don't agree with that. When it comes to cherry picking, you've only got to look at the opening gambit that the European Commission put in. They don't like cherry picking. Except they want to have complete free access to our fishing grounds. So cherry picking's all right when they do it, not when we do it. But we're only just starting out on these negotiations. You're not going to agree immediately. But no, I think on the whole, the mood music is very positive. We're going to get there at the end of the day.
And you think, as you outlined there, that cherry picking, however overused it is now, basically will be the basis of the Brexit negotiation, the final kind of agreement, particularly in terms of the future arrangement. It will be, we have bits of this, bits of that, EU have access to certain things, UK have access to certain things, and that's the way it's going to be done. Well,
no, because the way they're using cherry picking is that they mean, well, here's the deal if you're a member of the European Union, which bits of it do you want? Well, we don't. We're going to be a completely independent country. We will have back control of our money, of our laws, and of all the regulations and so on. What we're talking about is a completely independent country negotiating with the European Union, just as Canada has done in the past, and other countries. So I think that's the wrong language to use. What we're dealing with is two independent entities, two equals, finding a mutually beneficial trading arrangement.
Now, you mentioned fisheries. There's been some reporting, at least in the UK press, that the Conservative government, Theresa May, is perhaps softening the stance on whether the UK will totally ban any kind of EU access to UK territorial fishing waters, and that perhaps as part of a deal and part of some access arrangement, you might see EU ships continuing to have some access in UK waters. What do you think of that?
Well, the key point is we're going to be leaving the common fisheries policy, and we will have control over our waters. We will control how much fish are caught, what sort of fish are caught, when they are caught, and
so would you not mind then if there was a continued presence of EU vessels in UK water?
What I'm looking to do is to rebuild the British fishing industry so that over a period of time, and of course you can't just magic fishing boats up out of nowhere, nor the men and women with the skills to work them. So this is going to be a gradual process. Also, of course, there are contracts in place, and you can't just suddenly abrogate contracts because you leave the European Union. We are a law-abiding nation. We do believe in the rule of law. Those contracts will continue. So there isn't going to be a sort of a sudden stop, if you like. But the key point is we're leaving the common fisheries policy. We will make the decisions, and over time we will build up the British fishing industry again.
Now, one of the things that's going to be decided next week at the council meeting is also hopefully the plans for the implementation period or transition period. Now, you were a Leave campaigning campaigner at the time. There's been a lot of talk about the ECJ, a lot of talk about what movement of people is going to be, the arrangement is going to be finalised, very much indicating that there will be a presence of the ECJ and there will be continued rights for EU citizens to come to the UK and have permanent residency during that transition period. As someone who's been there since the start, effectively, does that worry you?
Well, we don't know what form the transition period's going to take yet. As far as the ECJ is concerned, Theresa May and David David have been absolutely clear. We are taking back control of our laws, and that means that the ECJ will have no jurisdiction within Britain. But quite clearly, if you're trading with another country, then when you do that, the goods that you sell in there have to abide by their rules, just as at the moment when we sell things to America, you have to abide by American rules. And so the ECJ will have a role, if you like, in that format. But we've always been completely clear, we are taking back control of our laws. The ECJ will not have jurisdiction in Britain.
And would you be happy with if the deal comes about and there is a continued presence of the ECJ just during that transition period, during those few months where you're working out final arrangements until we properly leave effectively? That wouldn't be as much of an issue as perhaps some other what are known as hard Brexiters, what they're saying.
Well, from my point of view, nobody wants there to be, this fabled cliff edge. Before I became an MEP, I ran a small business. I understand how important it is that you have continuity, that you know where you're going, and this is why we're having the transition period. We know where we're going to be at the end of it. We will do by the time we finish the negotiations. Some of it's going to take time to put in place, so you do need that transition period. And if it is necessary for the ECJ to have some sort of role there, then it will do. But as I understand it, we're not talking about direct jurisdiction. We're talking about it having a role in some independent body that will adjudicate where there are disputes. But it's all, it's all up for negotiation. It's all on the table. Nobody's made any decisions yet. And what's really important from my point of view as a Leave campaigner is where we are at the end of the day, and where we have to be is outside of the single market, outside of the customs union, outside of the European Union, in an independent Britain able to find its own way in the world and looking out beyond, if you like, the fortress Europe that's hiding behind the customs union wall and embrace the globe as a whole.
Rupert Matthews, thank you very much.
Thank you.